To China first, where 12 miners trapped hundreds of metres below the surface after an explosion at a gold mine a week ago are now communicating with their rescuers by telephone. The rescuers on the surface have been able to lower a phone line into a narrow shaft at the site in Shandong province. We're going to be talking about what can actually be done practically in these situations when they do occur. But first, let's get the latest on the situation from our correspondent, Stephen McDonald, who's just brought us the latest. What is the latest, Stephen?
Well, obviously having this phone line is much better than the way they were communicating, which was just via handwritten notes, like shoved on long metal cables and then driven underground for hundreds of metres. Having this phone line, they can talk to the trapped miners and get a better idea of the situation that they are facing. Now, they sadly have lost contact with a colleague who was buried some 50 metres below them. Then there are 10 other colleagues they've lost. They don't know where they are. The worrying thing, though, is that for the survivors, the water level is dangerously high, and officials are thinking of trying to use possibly submersible devices to try and pump some of that water out. Now, the upside of having better communication with the miners, also via these tunnels, they've been able to send through a lot more food and the like. So, for example, they've now reached them via several of these long, thin communication tunnels, and, for example, been able to send through to them these special nutritional liquids, porridge, medicines, which they had requested. Now, the miners said that some of amongst their group were dizzy, but they've now been able to get up and walk again. The injured were feeling better. They were very thankful. This had all helped them restore their energy and what have you. But they actually requested, they'd really like some ham sausages, actually. So you can imagine after a week stuck underground and a few nutritional packs, you might like something like some sausages to possibly lift the spirits.
Oh, bless them. The news that's coming up from underground, brought to us by Stephen McDonald in Beijing. Thank you, Stephen.
Let's talk more then about what can be done in such dramatic situations. Andrew Watson is a mine safety consultant with MRS Training and Rescue. Andrew, good to talk to you. The main hurdles then that the rescuers will have to overcome?
I think you have to look back to what would cause the explosion in the first place. I mean, an explosion in a gold mine is extremely unusual, caused by a natural something that's in the mine. So the explosion has been caused by something that's been transported. And for the size of the explosion we're talking about, it's been potentially explosives themselves that's been transported into the mine. And it's happened out by near the entrance into the mine to actually trap the men. And they have got three options to rescue them. One is the borehole, which has obviously been done before, as in Chile. But there are problems with that, and this might explain why they're drilling more and more boreholes, and the fact that you would know the amount of water that was in the mine, and that would create a timeline, a critical time to get the people out. But just the simple fact that you're putting boreholes in through water-bearing strata, you could be increasing the water into the mine, and that would potentially cause a problem.
And they're already saying they're communicating. I was just going to say on that point, they're communicating that there are already high levels of underground water. So if they don't go down that route, what else might be another way of them getting them out?
The other two options, which are potentially a quicker way of getting them, is you either go through where the roadway has been damaged by the explosion, or you go around it. Now, initially, when they went in, they would only have half the information they require, and that would be from going into the mine. So they would know where the problem started from, where the roof fall, where the collapse started from, but they wouldn't have information on where it ended. So that makes it difficult to plan what is the quickest route, which is obviously what they're looking for, the quickest way to get the miners out. Now that they've got communication, they may, and it's only a may, they may have information as to the extent of the fall, and that would then create a focus for the way they try and create the rescue. The borehole, which the depth they're working at, is very similar to what you had in Chile, and that's in almost 70 days. And if the water is rising to a critical point, that is not really an option for them. So they have to find a way, as I say, either to go through the roof wall to clear it, or to go around it. And if they now have information as to the extent of that, they can now focus on that. I mean, initially, they've probably been doing all three because of the lack of information. If they're now clear on just exactly what has been damaged, this will create a focus.
Andrew, I mean, in these situations, miners are used to spending time underground, but not such prolonged periods of time. Is this a problem as well? You want to get to these people, but, their mental state as well, I guess, is key to getting them out safely.
I think the mental part is the key to it, because if they've got the boreholes going in, they can supply everything that would be required to keep them alive. It is the mental condition of the men, and from the sounds of it, they've got injuries in there as well, and that obviously has an impact on morale. But again, being able to communicate will help with that. They need reassurance. They need to know what's happening outside the mine, and hopefully they can give them some sort of timeline to give them some reassurance that they will be rescued within the time. The one thing they will not be short of in China are miners to do the work. They will not be short of the willingness to get in there and get them out, because irrespective of where you have an underground situation, miners will be trying everything possible to help miners.
Andrew, good to talk to you. Andrew Watson, their mine safety consultant with MRS Training and Rescue.